So we're going to go back 1 year to the 2021 draft class. And this was the year before we started actually doing League Bound. But we figured it was an appropriate time to start doing like a redraft, if you will, because now these guys are starting to get paid, starting to get their second contracts. And so I think that's always a good time to kind of assess. I think you had a lot of great players in there. You've got Cade Cunningham, Franz Wagner, Scottie Barnes. There's more down the list. Jalen Green's also in here, Alperen Sengun. We're going to alternate 1, 2, 3. And we're going to keep the same draft order. So Pistons, Rockets, just how the original draft went.
So with the number 1 pick, I'm not going to do what I want to do. I will take Cade Cunningham again.
Okay.
I'm going to take Cade Cunningham again. I just think he's probably the best fit for this Pistons organization. 6'7", guard. He's starting to break through this season. I think he's shown flashes early in his career. He's gotten hurt a few years, but this year I think the Pistons are kind of starting to look like an actual basketball team. Like they aren't breaking records for most losses in a row. I think they have a coach that is got them going in the right direction, and I think Cade Cunningham is a big piece of that. He looks like what we thought he would be coming up.
Yeah, I mean, he was so good at Oklahoma State. I remember when I was getting ready for this draft class, just going through all these first-round guys, and I was watching a lot of Oklahoma State games, and it was literally him and just a bunch of nobodies pretty much on that squad. It was insane to see Oklahoma State competing with other teams in the Big 12 at the time because Cade was going for near triple-doubles sometimes. So I definitely don't hate the Cade Cunningham pick. He's been amazing so far this year as well.
Do you want to get right into the second pick?
Yeah. See, this is where it's tough because it's Houston, and originally they take Jalen Green. I'm a Cavs fan, and Evan Mobley has been great for our team, but I don't know if Houston was looking for like a defensive-minded big. So at this point, are they going to retake Jalen Green, or are they looking further down the board at someone like Scottie Barnes, who I think, is he the only All-Star so far from this draft class? So he's been amazing as well in Toronto, and I think that's probably where we're going to have to go because Scottie Barnes, even though he is known as like a wing, he can still be offensive initiator in not the same way as Jalen Green where he's hunting his shot, but he can bring the ball up and he can get the offense into system. And I think that's something Houston was obviously valuing, was someone that could lead their offense going forward. And looking back on it now, Scottie Barnes provides a lot more defense than Jalen Green. So he's going to be up there at the number 2 pick.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. I'm kind of torn because obviously with Mobley right there, I could do the easy thing, but I don't want to do the easy thing.
Ooh.
So I think I'm going to go with Franz Wagner. And right now, I'm not really looking so much as the fit for this, but I think right now he's making a serious case to be an all-star again, especially, or not again, for the first time, especially with Paulo out. I know he had a little bit of a, I don't want to say slump, but he struggled from 3 last year, and I know that was kind of a big benchmark for like how his growth will be. And I think right now he's averaging about, let me pull up the stats real quick. He's averaging about 22 points, 5 assists, from 3 shooting 35%. And I think that's all he needs to do to, get in that all-star race contention. I think that he elevates the magic, especially alongside Paulo. And I think he's going to be a multiple-time all-star when it's all said and done. So I'm going to put Franz in there.
Well, this is before Paulo. Wait.
That is true.
This is before Paulo.
That is true.
But as the next pick, we're running. Maybe not running. It's tough because I feel like Jalen Green has more upside than Evan Mobley, like long term. I think the couple month stretch at the end of last season where he was just obliterating teams is like, I happen to be one of the people who think that's real and that's what he could ultimately be one day. However, it's been a couple years of just only like month stretches here and there. So it's been a very inconsistent few years. I think some of that is that you have Sengun in like his orbit, so it's kind of slowing the team down. I think he's better on a more fast-paced team. Mobley is more of a sure thing to like provide positive value. But you know what? I think we're going to take the risk. I'm going Jalen Green.
Wow. The Mobley fall is crazy. I think you guys need to watch more Cavs games, honestly. We're on a 15-game winning streak right now, and he's been a big reason why. He's had a bunch of game-sealing blocks. His offense has taken a huge step. And so here at 5, with Jalen Green now off the board, Evan Mobley is there, but let's say do we think Orlando is still taking a guard at this point? Because they originally took Jalen Suggs, who's been pretty solid, but I don't know, man. I feel like if Evan Mobley was on the board at 5 at this point in the draft,
especially at that moment in time, they would have.
Yeah, this has to be Evan Mobley over the rest of this class. Like Franz Wagner being gone, he was kind of the only other guy in that position. Even maybe like a Jalen Johnson could kind of be up for contention at that point, but he's nowhere near, in my opinion, as valuable as Evan Mobley. So massive falling from 3 to 5. But Evan Mobley is off the board now with the Orlando Magic.
I will give Evan Mobley his respect. You know, I think he's one of the only players in this class that has made an all defensive team, and like you said, he's taking a leap this year offensively. But I just had to put Franz up there. I just feel like the offensive game. I don't know.
It's tough too, because like as a GM, like even I remember like thinking this kind of at the moment. It's like, would I rather have Evan Mobley in this class or be bad again and try and get Chet next year? And I feel like Chet is just such a more, like he frees up so much more in the offensive end, and he provides basically the same thing on defense, if not better.
If Evan Mobley was on that Orlando Magic team right now without Paolo Banchero healthy, I think he would be averaging way more than 22. If they told him, we need you to carry this team during this stretch where Paolo is gone, I think Evan Mobley could be up at 25 points per game if he was the number one option and they're telling him 20 shots a game minimum.
The number one option.
I disagree.
I'm
not going. I can't
He's averaging 18 right now behind Garland and Mitchell.
That's about his cap though.
Like I think that's his cap.
I think
18.
I think like 20 point. Like I can see like 20, maybe 22. I don't think he gets to 25. He can't shoot. I need you to be able to shoot.
I think he's more of like
25.
a pick and pop shooter. I don't think. Plus, I'm thinking about the Magic right now and where they're at, and we all know about their offensive. And you brought up the series they had with their offensive struggles. I feel like
there's already no space on the floor.
Yeah, I feel like Mobley wouldn't necessarily. I don't know, because I think one thing about Franz too, and why he's having so much success, is because he can be kind of like another initiator on the floor. And I don't think Mobley necessarily fits in that. I still think he would definitely be having the same amount of defensive success, but I don't know if his offense would really take off like that.
I kind of do want to go back to your Franz pick a little bit though. What is up with his shooting?
You picked Jalen Green.
That's true. That's true. Hey, I acknowledge.
Where was Jalen Green picked?
I acknowledge the problem. Yeah, he was 4.
Okay.
I acknowledge the problems with Jalen Green. However, I think his upside is still up there. With Franz, is he a shooter or is he not a shooter?
I think he's just a streaky shooter.
But for entire years?
I think the upside is there though. And I think right now, last year was just a bad year.
Evan Mobley right now on the season, 37.5 from 3.
Okay, but
on a lot more attempts than his prior
How many
season.
attempts?
A lot more. Dude, he's averaging at least 1 or 2 more per game this season than he was last
1
year.
or 2 more from 0 is how many?
It was not 0, bro.
I'm saying, how many attempts is he averaging?
Let's pull up the stats.
But also, I think an important thing to look at that, or to assess that, is how is Mobley getting his 3-point attempts too? I think it's probably a lot different from how Franz is getting his.
My thing with Mobley is he can't create the offense. Like I think that's like the next step for him. If he gets that, this is an entirely different conversation. But as it stands today, he like him as a number one, like him without Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell to get him the ball, get him involved, take the attention away, and he's the sole focus of an NBA scouting report. I don't think he has the tools to average like 25. I just don't see it at this point in time. Now, if he,
I don't want to hijack the segment. We can move on, but I think
I'll answer your question though. I think one thing for me about Franz is he's also a very good finisher at the rim too. And I'm just thinking about like everybody else in this class. Like offensively, I think the only other person who I would maybe look at, or the 2 other guys I'd look at, are maybe Green and Sengun for that spot.
So here's my question. What is Franz ceiling? How good can he be?
I said before, I think he could be a multiple-time All-Star. I'm not saying he's going to be like a number one option, but I think that there's a real possibility there, especially with what, and I'm thinking about this from like just what Orlando has now. I think that there's a real possibility, especially if they start winning in the future, that he could earn that.
Yeah, but like, are we talking? This is my thing. I see like Kyle Korver like All-Stars in his future. Like, yes, he's an All-Star because in the NBA they try to reward the best team in each conference.
I'll
with
say
two
like
All-Stars.
reserve, fringe guy, coaches
Yeah,
pick him.
like-
I'm not saying like he's gonna be a
Coaches
starter.
pick him.
Yeah,
I'm
like
not saying
coaches
he's
pick.
gonna be like a starter. I'm not saying all that.
I think Jalen Green has the potential to be a starter. Does he hit it? I don't know.
Ooh.
It's a gamble, but I think
I wouldn't. If
he
this
has-
were last year, I wouldn't flame. I'm not flaming you now. I wouldn't like come after you for that. But I think it's just taking so
he's
much
had a good
time.
start to the year. He's had a solid year.
But he's still shooting like 30%.
It's so funny to hear Jalen Green starter in the Western. I mean, you got Luka, Kyrie, Steph
This is
Curry.
also projecting for this.
Okay.
Not right now. Kyrie, Curry, they only have so
Yeah.
many
And
years
And
left to play.
my thing too is like, I feel like Jalen Green is missing out on opportunity right now to really solidify himself as that guy. And like, initially I kind of thought the same thing.
I gotta
too.
put-
I was looking at it like, man, he's having a great start to the year, but then you look at it, he's still having the same struggles. And like, I just don't think Green right now is going to be, if he wants to be on a championship team, I don't think he's going to be like the number one guy. He's going to be like Wiggins.
Jalen Green
I think
is-
he could be a 2 though. I think he could be a 2.
I think a 2 could be fair, yeah.
Okay, Franz Wagner, you think he can be a 2 on a championship
I think
team?
so.
don't
I think so.
I think he's a 3 at best on a championship team. I think he's a 2 on a playoff team that makes the playoffs every year but doesn't really get out of the second round. I think he's a 3 on a championship team. And Evan Mobley is a 3 on a championship team on the offensive end.
Okay, we got to keep going because we're at 3:47, so we're about to run out. We're definitely gonna have time for our other segment. What pick are we on? I forgot. Sorry.
We are on 6.
So that means I'm up.
Hey, if Jalen Green's the best the West got after Kyrie and Curry, bro, I mean,
There's Anthony. I feel like Anthony Edwards
There's
and Jalen Green.
definitely
He's like
Anthony
the same
Edwards.
thing as Anthony Edwards, but just worse in every category, pretty much.
I mean, that's fair, but I don't know. I think Sengun is really hampering like people's like. I think he's kind of holding him back because they have to slow down. I think the team is built to run. They're built to get out in transition. I think if that's the type of team they were, like you've seen what happened when Sengun went down. Not saying that they're better without him, but I think the team just fits better.
Okay, you picked Mobley last, right?
Yes,
Mobley.
Orlando is going home with Evan Mobley at 5.
Okay, then for 7, I'm gonna go. Wait, 7.
6, you got the Thunder.
Oh, 6. Yeah, I'm gonna go Jalen Suggs. I'm gonna rock with it.
Okay.
I don't think it's something they would have done out of college because he couldn't necessarily shoot it that well out of college. But looking at his game today, he definitely fits that Thunder pass, dribble, shoot, defense mode.
Mm-hmm.
And now at number 7, we have the Warriors. This is tough because the Warriors need somebody at this point in time to like probably progress faster than what Kuminga did. I would be really interested to see how Sengun will work in their system, just as like the passing that he brings to them. I think he slows them down, but not in the same way he slows down like a Rockets team that's actually trying to get out and run every possession. So I think he's probably the best fit there. So I'm going to go Sengun to the Warriors. Even though I'm not the big Sengun guy, I think he's probably a perfect fit for them.
No, I think that's a great fit just because obviously the play style they have with Curry running the show there and Klay Thompson's gone. But at that time, they still had him. And I think even Jordan Poole was still there at that time. So just having all those guys and him kind of being able to be kind of another, I guess, Draymond Green on the floor where he's out there, playmaking, setting up opportunities for the guys. And he obviously has his own offensive skill set. I think that's a nice little fit.
Yeah, Sengun can definitely clean glass as well. So, like, if you want Steph Curry to go out there and shoot 10 threes a night, like, he's going to get those rebounds too. So, nice little pick with Sengun up inside the top 10, which I don't think on draft night people even thought was conceivable. Like, Alperen Sengun top 10?
There
That
were
would've been
people
crazy.
that loved him, but it wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
Here at 8, so the Magic at this point in this redraft, they've already grabbed Evan Mobley. I think at this point they're probably looking for maybe some offensive-minded player, but I think someone that's sticking out other than, I guess, if you're a Josh Giddey believer, which I am not. Honestly, right now, seeing him on the later portion of this first round, I'm going to go Cam Thomas, someone who has been, him and Dennis Schroeder, they've been putting Brooklyn on their back this year. Why not give him a shot in that top 10? He's been scoring a lot. What do we think about that? Cam Thomas, top 10.
I like Cam. I definitely think it's a little bit of a reach with some of the guys still left out there.
We still got Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, it's still like some really good guys out here, like Jalen Johnson, Trey Murphy. Like, there's some really good players. I like Cam. I think he can score it with the best of them, but I don't ever think it'll be particularly efficient.
Hey, we just got Evan Mobley's defense. We don't need any more defense.
I mean, good point, I guess.
Okay, am I up? Who's
Yes,
9?
sir.
Who's 9? The Kings? I feel like I'm either going to go one of two guys here. You know what? I'm going to go Jalen Johnson. I was considering Herb Jones just because of his, like, he's probably one of the best perimeter defenders. But Jalen Johnson's got more of that offensive value. And I think me as a scout, obviously I'm just going to prefer more two-way guys. Not saying Herb Jones is incapable offensively, but obviously that's not where the strength of his game resides. So I think the Kings are going to take Jalen Johnson here. Again, I'm not really looking more so at the fit, just even though they went for Davion Mitchell, so I did kind of look at the fit, but I'm not stressing too much about the position, you know.
If I'm the Grizzlies, I'm running to the board. I'm taking Trey Murphy. I think he fits perfectly with Ja and the rest of what they have over there. He can shoot. He plays defense. He's long. He's built like kind of a lot of guys they have over there. And, like, he can really shoot the ball. Like, I get why the Pelicans have to start Brandon Ingram. He's probably a better player, like, net value. But it's hard because Trey Murphy is so good. And I think he just has another level to his game that he hasn't been able to unlock yet because he hasn't been able to play as much.
Is he hurt this year?
He was hurt. I think he just came back, but I'm not for sure.
Because I'm like, I know the Pelicans are obviously injury-ridden right now.
They're always injury-ridden,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But it's like absurd this year because they got McCollum out. Murray didn't even make it past the first game because he broke his hand.
So Murphy played last November 15th. He did play. He didn't play on the 16th versus he didn't play on the 16th versus the Lakers, but he did play on the 15th versus the Nuggets. So he is back now.
All right.
So I think the talent is definitely at this point. That was what, 10 or 11?
That was
Big
10.
I think it's taken a full step down at this point. I think one of the last guys that still is holding on to some decent potential, in my opinion, is going to be Jonathan Kuminga at pick 11. He's had some ups and downs recently with the Warriors, but maybe coming here to the Charlotte Hornets, maybe he's got a little bit in the different future in his future. So
I really like Kuminga. I feel like he was starting to put it together last year down the stretch. Like he just has to. It's hard because he went to a team that was already competing for championships. So it's always hard to find your role within like a team that is already winning. Like you're seeing it a little bit this year with Rob Dillingham. It's like it's kind of there's almost no place for him right out the gate. So it was hard. I think he would probably be a lot further along if he had went somewhere else. But I think that was pretty good value at that pick.
All right, 12.
Oh, Primo went 12.
Yeah. Okay, so if I had the pick before, I was thinking I'll do Herb Jones, but I'm not going to do Jones here just because you have Austin Reeves, went undrafted. He's obviously, I think part of the reason he went undrafted is just because he wanted to play for the Lakers so badly. But I think that obviously we know the offensive skill set that he has. And I think the Spurs, just looking right now, not necessarily what they had back then, but right now they need more offense. outside of Wemby, but they also need defense too. But
They need everything.
they do need everything. But I'm gonna go with Reeves here.
Pacers at 13. I'm going to go. I'm deciding between Trey Man and like maybe BJ Boston. The talent has definitely taken a little bit of a dip. I think it's more like upside swings now. I think I'm going to go with Trey Man. Get the AI tunnel fits going.
I got respect for Trey Man because he be wearing those baggy like 2000 shorts, and it's nice to see that the NBA is going back a little bit. I love the nostalgia aspect.
Man.
Or hold up, take that back. I'm going Herb Jones. So still there. Herb Jones.
Herb Jones. Okay, so
All right. That was 12, right?
Yep.
All right.
We got 2 more, right?
13, I'm not a fan of him, but I'm sure people in the comments are going to get mad that he hasn't been picked yet. I'm going to go Josh Giddey at 13. He's been a little bit better this year with Chicago. I'm not super high on him, but at some point he's got to go. I don't think he's completely out of the first round or anything from this class. So,
That's probably a good argument that he could have won a couple picks ago. It's just hard fits. Like a primary ball handler who can't shoot is kind of hard for like a ceiling. Like I think Chicago's like catching a lot of people off guard this year. Like no one's going into Chicago or having Chicago come to them and be like, tonight's going to be a tough night. Like,
I mean, he's still a stat sheet stuffer anyway. He's averaging 12, 6, and 6. So,
I mean, he's playing really
Ben
well.
Simmons numbers.
yeah. But, I mean, at some point you need those. And I think where he's at right now, I mean, I think it does,
It works as like a good creator on like a overall bad team, but I mean, so
All right, let's round out the lottery, Brandon.
guys still on the
Who
board.
have we not taken? I'm trying so hard to make sure we don't forget anybody.
All right, so I'll run through some of the guys left on the board. We still have Davion Mitchell on the board, Zaire Williams. We have
Quentin Grimes.
Moses Moody, Corey Crisper, Trey Mann. We have Kai Jones and all his issues. We have Isaiah Jackson, Josh Christopher, Sharif Cooper, BJ Boston. We have any guys who... Ayo DeSumo is still there. Greg Brown is still there. If you think a change of scenery would have helped his career out. You have...
Okay, I got my decision.
Also, before, just because this might change it, Aaron Wiggins is still there.
I did see that.
Jay Huff is also there still.
That's who I was looking up to. He's had a little
Yeah,
decent
he
year.
just got his chance. He just got his chance.
Another mess up by my Lakers. Like, we just give away great players all the time. But
Those summer league highlights, oof. Even his regular season highlights. I'm gonna be boring. I'm gonna just go with the same guy, Corey Kispert. Corey Kispert. I think he's a great.
Well, I mean, I guess not.
The other guy I was thinking was Wiggins, so I had him on my radar. Actually, let me think about this some more.
I'm assuming we're only doing the lottery.
Hey, in the
Yeah,
NBA,
this is
when
the
you
last.
make a pick, you kind of have to stick with it.
I mean, I did change one of my picks, though.
That's true.
I'll make an argument here for Wiggins.
I mean, he's not having the greatest shooting season right now. He's shooting 33%.
But last year, he shot the cover off the ball.
Yeah, and I think history shows he's a phenomenal. Plus, it's still early, so I'm not trying to I'm a rock with Corey. Keep it the same. I know I'm boring, but so that does it. We did our 2021 NBA redraft. We can't wait for y'all to flame us in the comment section.
I just know I'm going to see my name at least 20 times in the comments, bro.
I feel like
I put the cape on for Evan Mobley. I can't even
I'm
lie.
not going to
But
lie. I can see the slander coming for the Jalen Green pick, and I don't care.
I think Jalen Green is just a polarizing player to begin
Definitely.
with. Like so many different thoughts. Somebody's going to come for all of us. It's just it comes with the territory. How do you feel?
Hey, it'll be
Bro is scared.
not really.
Dishing out names this episode. We're finally putting the name graphics up.
Nah. We will.
yeah, they can't be like that last dude.
Nah, cut that part out. But nah. I mean, I think the good part about it is there's still a lot of time with a lot of these guys we'll end up seeing. We'll be able to look back in 3 or 4 years and see who was right and who was wrong. I still think there's like a lot of time left for a lot of these guys. Like I'm really high on BJ Boston, who's just now getting his shot after sitting behind all of the litany of Clippers forwards for the last few years. So I'm excited to see how he's going to pan out with the Pelicans. There's just other guys who have been in and out of rotations, like Delano Blandon's actually playing pretty decent for Portland. Like, there's some guys here that I think we could be looking back in a couple of years and be like, we probably should have included him.
Even if you look at, I feel like this could change a lot too, just at the end of the season, because I feel like somebody's gonna have Cade could have another great year, but I mean, he's the number 1 pick, so that doesn't do much. But somebody could have a career year and it just changes everything. Jalen could finally start shooting efficiently, and maybe I put him number 1. You never know.
Hey, Evan Mobley about to go for a 30-burger against Boston on Tuesday. Show y'all that he could be that number 1 option over Franz.
Y'all streak ends Tuesday.
No way.
And the Cavs streak ends Tuesday. But there's still some guys we haven't even mentioned yet that are like still quality guys. Like Bones Highland is still there. Santi Aldama for the Grizzlies, like 7-footer who can step out and shoot a little bit.
Hey man, Luka Garza from Iowa.
Yep, and that's saying, guys. No.
Quentin Grimes has been pretty solid this year as well for Dallas. So that was someone I was looking at if we were going to keep doing this draft. But I feel like we rounded out a pretty solid. There was some movement in that top 14 picks. But overall, I feel like, honestly, the guys who went in the top 14 were more often than not, like, correct.
Mm-hmm.
So who are some of the guys in this class that you guys were high on when it happened, but just were absolutely wrong about?
Well, I was very, very high on Jalen Green coming in before that. I think the G League situation didn't really help because he played those limited games, and they did the G League bubble. And so you only got like a month to scout him and really watch him. But I think I was still just high on him from the stuff he did high school too. Jalen Suggs was a guy who I was kind of like...
He's been really good. Like, really, really good these last couple years.
Yeah, but I know coming out of the draft, I was a little bit skeptical. Especially because at the time, I remember they had so many guards. Like, they still had Markelle. They had just drafted Cole Anthony. But somehow those guys are, Markelle's obviously not with the team, but Cole and Jalen they're providing a lot for that Magic squad.
For guys that I was high on, I feel like I remember watching LSU and Cam Thomas a couple of times, and he would go off for crazy numbers. So I was like, that'd be pretty cool if he could score like this in the NBA, and he's shown that on certain nights he can actually do that if he gets up enough shots. But I was similar to Branden with the G League. I was really high on Jonathan Kuminga. There was some talks that, as a Cavs fan, that if we didn't get up in that top 3, that he could have been someone at 5 or 6 that we were looking at. And I was pretty excited because he had some pretty cool highlights with the Ignite. He had some nice dunks. There was maybe a ceiling if his jumper improved, but so far with the Warriors, there's been improvements, but it's not been exactly what you expected from someone like Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah, I was really big on guys like Sharif Cooper, BJ Boston, who's starting to find his footing. I haven't sold my BJ Boston stock yet. I'm still holding on. Scottie Lewis is another guy I really liked. Zaire Williams. There was a couple guys that just haven't quite panned out yet that I was high on, but Josh Christopher was another one. I was also pretty high on him.
That was a name, we're looking at it. I see Josh Christopher at 24. I forgot, he had a pretty decent freshman season at Arizona State. I was like, did he really go first round? Because he's not really doing much in the NBA anymore.
Well, he is with the Heat now. He's with the Heat.
Right.
So.
Jake, I know you're forgetting somebody you were very high on.
Who's that?
Jericho Sims.
Oh, dude, a lot of those Texas bigs, him and Kai Jones, they had some crazy highlights.
Yeah, because I remember
Greg Brown is also in his class.
Dude.
He was somebody.
Greg Brown.
Yeah, you were high on
Texas had some.
Yeah.
They were like that.
They lost did they lose in the first round this year? I want to say because this was the year that Shaka got canned.
Yeah, this team, I'm pretty sure that Texas team underperformed. We can look it up again. But while we do that, who are some of the guys all time that you were just very excited for, guys you had all the stock in the world, and they just
As a
let you
Kansas
down?
fan, Josh Jackson.
Man.
I fell for it, man. I fell for the highlights. He was shooting like 38% from three. You know, he was like kind of a stretch guy, but he had the athleticism to do it all. Then he got to the league. Obviously, I think he had issues off the court as well. And with everything going on in Phoenix, he wasn't able to make it happen. But I don't know, man. I'm a Kansas fan, but there's a lot of guys who I feel like just were supposed to go into the league and kind of be phenomenal players, but just didn't really find that role.
Yeah, for me, he's still a very valuable player at times, but I was so high on Cam Reddish. I thought he was going to be someone in the top 5 in that class still, even after the freshman year that he put together. And so far, he's kind of resulted into a 3-and-D wing, which still can provide value. But I really thought that Cam Reddish was going to be someone who comes in, regardless of where he was picked, and be, you know, either the 1 or 2 option on a pretty good team.
We all know what Anthony Edwards said.
But nah, you guys were right. That Texas team was the number 3 seed in the East region. They were upset by Abilene Christian in the first round. They definitely kicked Shaka to the curb. After that year, he's found his foot at Marquette. Yeah. Somebody I was really high on that didn't quite pan out was Kevin Knox. He, as a Kentucky fan, he was like an automatic mid-range, like floppy set. Like he was just, I felt like they ran that play 1,000 times that year. They would just sit him there on the baseline, run him off a double screen, catch mid-range, and most of the time it was pretty good.
Hey, Kevin Knox was drafted before Shea.
That, I will say, Shea is somebody I had called very early. I remember telling somebody that he was going to start before Cade Green on that Kentucky team eventually, and he was somebody that I won't say I saw him becoming what he is today.
Oh, so you knew he was going to...
Nah, I didn't know he was going to be 30 points per game, but I thought he was going to be someone who had a long NBA career. Like I always kind of knew he was really good. To me, he was the best player on that team, but I also thought like Kevin Knox was somebody who was going to have a long NBA career, and he's still fighting to like stick around in the league, but it just hasn't quite went the way I thought it would go.
Thanks for watching League Bound. If you enjoyed this clip, subscribe to our channel to never miss our takes. Check out our full show right here on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts.